Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies.
Speak up, Safi.
Okay, today we are talking about the new episode, which is episode 4 of the author, and it is called I don't even know, the right shade of yellow.
Episode 4. And we're reshooting this video because after shooting for 14 minutes, Safi decided to ruin the whole video. So, thanks, Safi. So, anyways, what's the right shade of yellow referring to? Because, to my understanding, what's it referring to, Safi?
There's two things that it could be referring
Because what
to.
I thought it was there's this part where the the guy's tied up and he goes to the bathroom all over himself, and like, are they talking about the shade of his urine?
No, they're not. Now, Francis Ford Coppola is a real artist, as a director, a filmmaker. He's a real artist, and there's two things going on, major things, which actually took almost the entire episode to resolve. And one was the location. If you recall from last week, this man had allowed them to. He said that he was going to allow them to use his home and the acreage around it for their movie. And Francis Ford Coppola was so excited because he said this would be a perfect place for the wedding. I mean, he could see the whole scene, that this would be the Godfather's house, and he was envisioning everything, which is pretty amazing that he could have this vision. And he said it was perfect. And then the other thing was their choice for Michael Corleone, Al Pacino. He's a very young, upcoming actor, but I don't know, I really don't understand. Maybe Marco can understand, but this hierarchy above the producer, which is these three, the studio head and these two accountants and this other guy, which I just don't know what they are exactly because
It seems like
it's weird.
all these people have their own ideas, and it really revolves around themselves
And money.
and
And what they think that's going to make more money.
they don't care about the movie at all,
No,
whether the
not at
movie's
all.
good, and they get in their own way, and they make these terrible decisions. And we've seen all kinds of terrible decisions, and part of what I like about the show is that it's kind of like a satisfying thing where now in hindsight you can say, oh, look at all these decisions that they didn't get to make, these terrible decisions.
Which Fort was very fortunate because the movie was an amazing, memorable, for all
Yeah.
time movie.
Nowadays it would have been a agenda movie.
Yeah, and who knows what else because some of those decisions were just crap. Well, anyway, they had something against Al Pacino. I don't know what, because even the guy, now this is the modern day, so they picked these actors one imitates Marlon Brando, and then right now they have another guy who's imitating Al Pacino as a young man, and they did pretty good.
They're pretty good.
You could see him, in the way they were looking at him, and they just thought. So it was the location and the actor. They did not want him. They wanted somebody else. I don't know.
It's very reminiscent to
Really?
nowadays when they cast Nathan. I mean, they cast young Iron Man to play Nathan in Uncharted and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
this is why movies are bad nowadays, because nowadays they get to make all these decisions that they wouldn't have been able to make in this time period.
It just amazes me, and I did it again. How it's like they're traveling, they're on a journey, and they're on this road, and every so often they come upon some kind of obstacle, and it takes forever and a day to get around or over or through this obstacle. And it amazes me how this movie could even get made. And I can't believe it because, I was a kid. I was in sixth, seventh grade, and I did hear the thing about the Italians being up in arms, but it wasn't a real big deal. It didn't seem like it. And I heard the thing about everybody thought that guy was really Frank Sinatra. Even my parents thought so. They made comments, I remember. But to stop a movie from being played because you have this imaginings that it was harmful to the community and it was really Frank Sinatra is stupid. It's just ridiculous. And it's a piece of art. And they're trying to mess with art and twist it around to something. I don't know what they were doing, what they thought they were doing.
Because they don't respect art.
No, they don't, or they didn't.
That's why it's good that these people fought for the movie.
They sure
did not let these mentally ill losers ruin the movie.
It's just amazing to me. I can't get over it. I could still think about it.
I would say this episode is not as good as episodes 2 or 3, but it is still pretty good. And the reason why I say it's not as good as episodes 2 or 3 is because it dipped a little bit. It did exactly what I thought it would almost. I had reservations. You guys know what it was. Alan's wife, the producer's wife, she... In the last episode, she had this thing where she wanted to be a producer too, and she moves in his office, and she's like setting up shop there, and she's like running a salon in his office or something, and she's doing all these weird things, and now all of a sudden she wants to be his equal partner in making The Godfather. And I thought, like, this is just completely out of left field. It's really weird. And she's really weird, and like, please leave. And then she does leave. She makes like a grand exit saying, "You're never going to see me again. I am going to France to eat some baguettes."
No, she doesn't say that, but she doesn't sound like she's ever going to come back.
Well, she's being like dramatic, like this is some sort of a
it's pouty
1930s melodrama movie. She's like, I wanted you to say goodbye to me, and you'll never see me again.
It was just he wasn't trying to exclude her because he didn't respect her. He just looked at the project as like his baby.
It's his project.
His project, and he didn't want to share it with anybody. It didn't matter if it was her or not. And he wanted to share his life with her, but this project was something special. He knew it was special, and I think he wanted to see if he could really do it, and also to see it come to its fruition, that he could be producing this movie that would be well known forever. And he just wanted to see it by himself. And he said that to them too. He said that to those hierarchy people above him, that he wanted to do it by himself. And he he's been very low key. He hasn't yelled or gotten emotional or anything like some of these other people. He's just said it. And he almost got emotional when he said that. And so he really felt strongly about it. And she's not really understanding.
Like, no. This is a problem. You are telling me the truth and I don't like it.
Well, it was ridiculous and stupid. And like I said earlier when we were talking about it, was that I think if the shoe
We're still talking about it.
You're right, in a new version. If the shoe was on the other foot, she wouldn't want to do. She'd want to do it on her own too.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
She would think he was trying to take over, and I think that's exactly
She would
that's
say-
what he thought too.
She would say, I am Francois. I am a strong, independent woman, and I can do The Godfather by myself.
That's what she'd do.
Well, basically that's what he did, but
No, he's just like, this is my project. This is my project. I'm producer. Like, why can't I have just this one movie that's mine?
right.
Like, why do you have to be a producer with me? Why is it like, why are you making it about yourself?
Yeah, and I mean, he's not 90 years old. He'll probably make other movies after The Godfather.
He did.
And so I'm sure she could participate in those and be an equal partner. But this particular one, he wanted to, it was his creation, and with Francis, whom he respects because he respects art. And so I think that's good too, because he's not the director, he's a producer. The fact that he respects the art, unlike the people above him, is a good thing.
And he's a good producer.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of didn't like this episode in some ways. You have these typical scenes that you see in these biopic type of movies where you have the drama at home, where the main character, he has some sort of drama at home, and it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? I don't care. I don't fucking care at all. Like, this is about making The Godfather. I don't care about, making The Baby with Francois. I care about making The Godfather with Marlon Brando. And speaking of Marlon Brando, basically the main couple of plots in this episode are casting Brando and Pacini, who are the two best actors in the film. Well, I don't know. I kind of like James Caan in the movie. Actually,
He worked out okay.
I kind of like. I would say that
he fit the part of the book.
Number one would be Marlon Brando. Number two would be James Caan, and number three would be Al Pacino.
Yeah.
To me, and the first one.
And see, they wanted the people above the producer. They wanted Jimmy Caan.
And that was actually, Safi, that was my favorite part of the episode, because that was really hilarious when they were, the producer guy, whatever the fuck that guy is, the glasses guy.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The corny glasses guy, Bob, he was really upset that Al went behind his back twice for these two major casting decisions.
He went over his head.
Which, props to him for doing that. And then he calls him, and he's angry, and he's like,
okay, now I'm gonna take over this picture, and I'm gonna have all the decisions made, and we're gonna have Jimmy Caan play Sonny.
And then Francis Ford Coppola is like, but I wanted Carmine for Sonny. It was the funniest thing ever, because he was so, it was like this pretentious, like, but I wanted that one guy. And then Bob is like, shut the fuck. It was really funny. That was my favorite part of the episode. Safi, what about you? Was that your favorite part? That was really funny.
Well, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that they bent. I didn't even know Francis Ford Coppola wanted somebody else. I guess I misheard that, but
Oh, you didn't hear that?
no. But I think that they gave them
He
theirs.
said he wanted some guy named Carmine.
I have no idea unless they're talking about the Zorba, the Greek guy. They wanted him to be. And he would not have fit at all. Not one. I mean, that would have been a poor choice. I thought James Caan was a really good choice. Granted, he didn't look Italian. He looked like the traditional Italian, the one you think of. I know there's blonde Italians.
But he was perfect.
But he was since I read the book, I do remember that character, and he fit the character perfectly. He fit just fine in the family.
Yeah.
He was the hothead, and you remember he was killed, and
Really?
because
I never knew that. Wink, wink.
because he had
You're
made
just,
these decisions. But anyway, the other people didn't like, and anyway, but he was perfect. And so there.
it should have been Carmine. Hashtag Carmine was
I
robbed.
think I can't remember that guy's name.
We need to check who that was, because that's
I
really
think it's
funny.
the guy who played Zorba the Greek.
Really?
You saw him in that Barabbas movie, I believe.
No.
And if that's who Anthony Quinn, wasn't it?
No, that was for the Dawn.
Oh,
no, that was a separate thing. No, they were talking. They were talking about Sonny, and he was like, okay, for Sonny, he's gonna be Jimmy Caan, and Francis Ford Coppola, he like raises his finger. He's like, but I wanted Carmine.
I wonder if that's the guy with the dark black hair, the real dark hair. I'm not
really
sure.
funny.
We have to look that up because I would be curious to know who they were thinking of. But
That's definitely that's been the funniest part of the series so far to me.
But at least it was like a compromise, and and he worked out. That was a good decision.
Yeah.
So but amongst all the other ones, that was the only good decision.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people above the producer, I'm not talking about the other ones they made about Marlon Brando and Al Pacino.
So most of the episode revolves around casting, and then they had a little plot where they had the location problem. One of their locations, well, the first location didn't want to do it anymore because, and so the Joe Colombo overheard that, and of course he comes in the episode and has a nice little scene. And then he, of course, fixes that problem. And to me, it's funny because it's like this mobster is actually does better things for the movie than the actual producers in the studio do. I mean, not producers, whatever they are, the executives.
Yeah, we'll just call them the executives.
Like the mobster.
Studio execs.
The mobster, he actually cares about the movie more, almost. Just because for personal reasons, but still, I thought that was pretty funny. So, you have anything else to say, Safi?
Well, I guess there's also, I'll call it the wild card problem. There's some kind of guy who was just released from prison, and I guess he's going to be the wild card or the rogue person who causes a problem for the movie.
Now, Safi, I thought that was the guy in The Irishman who gets assassinated at one point. Remember that when when it's his birthday and he's at that restaurant, and then Robert De Niro goes in there and kills him in front of his family? I think that's that guy. So
I don't know.
I could be mistaken. I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know.
These names.
But he's talking about, and he seems to defer to Frank Sinatra. And here we go again.
Frank
We're
Sinatra.
in episode
Frank
4,
Sinatra.
and we're going on about hurting Frank Sinatra's feelings. I'm like, what in the hell? Frank Sinatra was very popular. I don't understand why he was so upset about him. That might be the guy in the book, might be him, and it wasn't. But he just got it stuck in his craw that was him, and he didn't like it. And I don't understand, why does he care? And the only reason what I can think of is that it's true. And that's why he cares so much.
Well, I found it interesting because they said in the book he's in a third of it or something, or he's in a lot of the book, but then in the movie he's only in the 2 scenes.
He's sprinkled throughout the book. I can't rember exactly, but
I just wonder what happened with him in the book. Like, what was he doing? Was he like, I don't understand like what the issue is. Like, who cares? Like, it's a book. Like, is it his personal life story? Like, is it called the life of Frank Sinatra?
No,
Like,
he
who
was
cares
just,
about Frank
I
Sinatra?
think
It's
he
the
was-
Godfather.
I think he was flirting with the Godfather's daughter,
Which,
and he was just, he would be. They wanted him all of the big time mobsters, the upper echelon people. They wanted this guy to sing at their parties, and then all the girls be going, oh, and they'd be screaming.
So
like
what's
it was
the problem
Beatles.
with that?
I don't know.
What's the
I
problem
don't
with
know. Well, I don't because that he would do this for them, and they would help him get jobs, I guess, and get prominent jobs.
So
So what? I just who cares? And I just can't believe it's episode 4 and we're still going on about Frank Sinatra, and I just can't believe he's so thin-skinned. And the only thing I can think of is that it's true. And that's what, but we know that Mario Puzo,
well, if
he did not have him in mind at all.
if I was in the Godfather book, I'd be pretty psyched about it. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I know, but I just think because he wants to be for people to think he's squeaky clean and he's never done anything wrong in his life, which that kind of is bizarre thinking to me too. Why would they want that? Why would they want to look like they're squeaky clean, like they're innocent, like they've never done anything that might be considered wrong? What's wrong with that? So they're friends with they know people in the mob. Knew people everywhere. That's why I say he's very well known, very famous, very popular. What's the deal? What's the problem? And it's just like every single episode. We're on episode 4, and they're talking about problems, and he's causing the problems. He's trying to not let the movie get made. Anything he can do, he's trying to do it. I don't get it. Okay, sorry.
Well, I would say overall the episode is pretty good. It just had a few things that it kind of I don't know. The few things with his wife were kind of
No, I didn't
weird.
like that.
I didn't like it.
It was like a distraction almost.
It was also kind of like a typical. It's almost like it's hard to believe that that's true. Like it's like, is this really true? Like, or did they just make this up? This whole drama.
Well, I'd like to read that book.
I would give this episode a B.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I would agree because I didn't care for that part. I thought it was really good. What happened was Joe Colombo leaned on the owner of the property to let them use it for the location, to forget what that I think the congressman is the one that laid the hammer down on him to not let them use the location, and that the movie was bad for the Italian community. And Joe Colombo said, I'll take care of that. And so they had picked him up, and he thought they were going to kill him. And even the producer, they brought him over there too to see what was happening. And he was frightened. He didn't show it, but he said so after, that they were going to kill him. That's when the thing happened where he peed himself. And Marco was talking about that, and the color yellow, and
God, Safi, you're just going to explain everything.
well, I guess I just can't. I just.
I mean,
people
but
don't
what
know
do you have to
we're
say
talking
about it? What do you have to say about it, though? Like, what is there
Well,
to
I
say?
thought that was very.
Say something about it.
That was pretty strong, and it's just so funny because.
How would you rate that scene on a scale of 1 to 10?
No, I give it a 10.
Okay.
It was very telling. It's just so funny and ironic. They don't want people to call them the mafia, so they take the word out of the movie, which was only said like once.
Then they are the mafia.
They are the mafia, and they're acting like the mafia. They're putting the squeeze on people to get them to do what they want them to do or not do what they want them to do. So what do you call that? Is that normal behavior? Does everybody put the squeeze on everybody? No. But the mafia does. That's what they're known for, and they're doing exactly what they're known for.
Well, I was glad that they did that, though. Like, I would have had them do that if I was the producer in that movie.
It was just funny, ironic.
So you think that they shouldn't have done that? Like,
No, I'm just saying that they're ironic
okay,
and hypocritical.
because it was a good thing to do. You know, that location is key to the movie.
Oh, I know
So-
that. So that's what Marco means when he said earlier, sorry, that the Joe Colombo, in his own way, is helping the movie to be made. And the thing is, he's very happy because the producer has shown him a lot of respect, and he likes that. He appreciates it, so he is trying to help him and help this movie because he knows that he wants it made, and so he considered this to be helping him to get this location and to whatever's going on. That the reason why the guy denied it and said, "Oh, we can't do that now. I decided I can't do it." He's not going to let that happen.
The hard thing to do for me is to resist looking up what happens online. Like, looking up what happens in terms of, does Joe Colombo get killed? Does Crazy Joe, what happens with him? You know, it's hard to resist not looking things up online, honestly.
Well, don't say anything. I don't want to know.
Well,
I
you'll find out
will
in
find out.
episodes.
It just freaks me out that all this was going on and nobody knew it.
Yeah.
Only the people, I guess, who in the community, the
It's-
Hollywood community, maybe they knew it.
It's good because it also gives people more respect for the movie. Because honestly, I would say ever since 2005, people have really said, The Godfather is overrated. Why does
No.
everybody have it in their top 10 lists? It's overrated. It's
I
boring.
can't believe they would say that, and they would think it was boring.
And well, you
I
know,
mean, there's constant
you want to
action.
know
The
who
whole
said
thing.
that, Safi?
Oh,
The loser. He said
him?
he said he saw all the guys in his film class putting it on their top 10 lists, and he thought that they were stupid for doing that. And
No,
he
he's
says
a fraud. So.
he said that Return of the Living Dead is better.
Oh God! Oh my God! He's got to be kidding me. What a dope.
When we're talking about someone we don't want to name, so
No, we don't want to do that.
but there's this idiot, and he said that he was mad that everyone else in class said that Godfather was their favorite movie. And he said his is Return of the Living Dead.
Oh.
And it's like,
Oh,
wow.
God. Oh boy.
Godfather is way better than Return of the Living Dead.
My
That
God.
That's just an objective fact. Like, that's not even something that you can debate. That's just objectively
Well,
true.
they're not even comparable. I mean,
Yeah, they are.
Not in the sense of
You've
the
never even
greatest
seen.
the movie ever made.
Have you
or
even
one of
seen-
the greatest movies?
Have you even seen Return of the Living Dead, Safi?
I believe so. Yes.
The one from the 80s
Yeah.
with the naked woman who dances in the cemetery. You remember?
I hope she's not the zombie.
She becomes a zombie, yes.
I don't know. I may have seen it. It's
Oh,
some
I
of
don't
these
think you've
movies,
seen it. Oh,
I don't know.
That'd be funny. Let's
I don't
see.
know, but it doesn't sound like it's equivalent to The Godfather.
It's okay, but it's not The Godfather.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good that this show gives a new respect, because now people can say, oh, look at what all the trouble they went through to make it, and then you're over here calling it overrated. It's boring. It doesn't deserve to be in a top 10. And it's like, F off. Like, watch this show and find out what they had to do to make it, and then you'll say otherwise.
I think so, because to me it's just amazing. And I have a subscription to newspapers.com, and I'm going to look back in the newspapers of those times, of the Kansas City paper and maybe the Chicago paper, and see what people said about the movie, to see what they said about the Italian community and maybe any mobster person who was like Joe Colombo, any of that. I want to see what's said about it, because you know, I was the 6th, 7th grade. I wouldn't have been looking at the paper like that. But
Anyways,
anyway, well, so if you like this video or audio, please subscribe and hit the like button. And we like new subscribers because we like to hear other people's opinions. If you don't think this show's been that good, or you want to
Well,
marvel about how...
that's fine, but like to me, I would say this is way better than Better Call Saul, and I really enjoy it. I think that a lot of the acting is really, really good. You have Miles Teller. He does a really good job. Thank God, apparently, Armie Hammer was supposed to play him. Ugh! Oh, I'm so glad that didn't happen. Ugh, I hate Armie Hammer. And I hated him before whatever happened with him happened. You know, the cannibal guy, the cannibal actor. I hated him before that happened. He's just the most boring, bland, typical, like just, ugh, gross. I hated him, and so thank God they recast him as Miles Teller. Because Miles Teller is a lot better, and he has just that punch you in the face quality where you just really want to punch him in the face, and it's really fun to think about. Like, I wish someone would make a video game where all it would be is just you get to punch Miles Teller in the face over and over and over again, and that would be really satisfying. And then you have Francis Ford Coppola, really good. Mario Puzo, really good. All these fantastic acting performances. And even if you think the show isn't that good, like maybe you think the show is typical biopic show type of thing, just at least acknowledge the acting. Because we've acknowledged the Better Call Saul acting, even though we have not liked episodes 3 and 4 for the most part. We
because
still
of the
acknowledge.
storylines and...
Yeah, it's because of the writers. It's not because of the actors. So, yeah.
All right, well, so we'll be doing... we'll be reviewing MasterChef Junior later on this evening. So if you want to catch that show, don't forget to watch it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.